July 12, 1943. The wheat fields near the small village of Brokhorovka are about to become the scene of history's largest tank battle. The morning mist hangs low over the golden fields, but the silence is deceptive. The German Wehrmacht had launched Operation Citadel just days earlier, attempting to pinch off a Soviet salient near Kursk. Leading the charge was the fearsome II SS Panzer Corps, equipped with their newest and most formidable weapons, the Tiger heavy tanks and Panther medium tanks. These steel behemoths were commanded by some of Germany's most experienced tank commanders, veterans of campaigns from France to the Russian steppes. Opposing them was the Soviet 5th Guards Tank Army, led by Lieutenant General Pavel Rotmistrov. Their primary weapon, the reliable T-34 medium tank. While not as heavily armored as the German Tigers, the T-34s had their own advantages: speed, maneuverability, and most importantly, numbers. By dawn on July 12th, the Germans had advanced to within striking distance of Brokhorovka. Field Marshal Erich von Manstein believed this would be the decisive breakthrough he needed. The Soviets, however, had other plans. Under Stalin's orders, Rotmistrov's forces had conducted a night march of over 400 kilometers to reach the battlefield, arriving just in time. By dawn on July 12th, the Germans had advanced to within striking distance of Brokhorovka. Field Marshal Erich von Manstein believed this would be the decisive breakthrough he needed. The Soviets, however, had other plans. Under Stalin's orders, Rotmistrov's forces had conducted a night march of over 400 kilometers to reach the battlefield, arriving just in time. At 06:15 hours, the morning silence was shattered. The Soviet artillery opened up with a devastating barrage. Through the smoke and dust, hundreds of T-34s emerged, charging straight at the German positions. The distance between the opposing forces was so close that the normal German tactic of picking off Soviet tanks at long range was impossible. What followed was chaos. Nearly 1,500 tanks and assault guns clashed in an area roughly 3 miles wide and 2 miles deep. The fighting was so close that tanks were firing at point-blank range, sometimes barely 50 yards apart. The heat from burning vehicles was so intense that ammunition exploded spontaneously in their storage compartments. German Tiger commander Franz Staudegger later described the scene.
It was like a vision of hell. Tanks were burning everywhere. The air was filled with smoke and the smell of burning fuel and flesh. You couldn't tell friend from foe in the chaos.
The Soviet tactics were simple, but costly. They attempted to offset German technical superiority by closing to extremely short range, negating the superior German optics and gun range. The Soviet tactics were simple but costly. They attempted to offset German technical superiority by closing to extremely short range, negating the superior German optics and gun range. T-34s would charge directly at Tigers, knowing that several would be destroyed, but hoping one would get through. By mid-afternoon, the battlefield was littered with hundreds of burning tanks. The wheat fields had been transformed into a blackened wasteland of craters and wreckage. The losses on both sides were staggering. The Soviets lost approximately 400 tanks, while the Germans lost about 80 vehicles. But numbers tell only part of the story. While Soviet losses were higher, they had achieved their strategic objective. The German advance had been stopped. More importantly, the battle had consumed precious German resources and time they couldn't afford to lose. The Battle of Brokhorovka marked the end of Operation Citadel. Within days, Hitler would call off the offensive, partly due to the Allied invasion of Sicily. The German army would never again launch a strategic offensive on the Eastern Front. Today, the fields around Brokhorovka are peaceful again. A massive bell tower stands as a memorial to the thousands who died here. Every hour, it tolls in remembrance of that fateful day when two massive armored forces clashed in what became known as the largest tank battle in military history. The veterans who survived Brokhorovka never forgot what they witnessed.
It was not a battle, it was a slaughter. Even now, decades later, I can close my eyes and see those burning tanks, hear the screams of the wounded.
The Battle of Brokhorovka stands as a testament to the scale and ferocity of the Eastern Front during World War II. It marked a turning point, not just in the Battle of Kursk, but in the entire war. After Brokhorovka, the initiative on the Eastern Front passed permanently to the Soviet Union. The wheat fields have long since recovered, growing golden once again each summer. But beneath the soil, the earth still holds fragments of that terrible day, a reminder of when these peaceful fields witnessed one of history's greatest tank battles, a crucial moment that helped determine the outcome of World War II. The tolling of the memorial bell echoes across the countryside, a solemn reminder of the price of victory and the sacrifices made by both sides in this pivotal battle that changed the course of history.